Hi, and welcome back to the Grumpy Bagel podcast. I am your host, Megan. You can find me on Ravelry and Instagram as the Grumpy Bagel. It is the 16th of February today, and this is episode 10, so double digits. Yay! Who would have thought, right? Yeah. So I don't have very much to show you today, so it's not going to be very long of an episode, I think, but I still wanted to check in and have some semblance of a schedule. I think maybe every 3 weeks is a good pattern for me instead of a two or as I've been averaging once a month. I'm gonna try that and see how it works. So this is a knitting podcast coming to you today from Central California, as I always do. And so again, knitting and occasionally delving into my individual brand of nerdiness podcast. So I don't have any of the other nerdy stuff to share with you today, but it's going to be just the knitting stuff today. So I will go right into finished objects for you. And the first thing that I have to show you is my sockhead hat by Kelly McClure. This is out of Nerd Girl Yarns Astral, which is a merino fingering merino, nylon, and gold stellina blend. In Honey, You Should See Me in a Crown colorway, which is a BBC Sherlock reference to Jim Moriarty, whom I love. I shouldn't, but I love him. And I really like how the crown of the the body of the hat turned out, because as I told you last time, I was having some issues with the pooling once I got to the stockinette portion here. I'm going to scoot over a little bit so I'm not always like this. So I used number 1 US 1 needles for the brim and then switched to 1.5 for the body to break up the pooling. And I'm really happy with how it turned out, how it ended up kind of striping around. All those gorgeous, gorgeous jewel tones. And the only modification I made for this was, as I always do for my sock heads, is to only knit 8 inches of stockinette instead of 9. It doesn't sound like a lot, but that's just my personal preference. Before starting crown decreases up here. Show you the crown. There. So it feels really scrummy too, and I love all the. You can probably, yeah, you can see the stellina in there. All the sparkle bits. So my Moriarty sock head. This next finished object was actually finished the last time I recorded. It just hadn't. Let's scoot back there. It just hadn't been blocked, and with this, blocking really matters on it. So I didn't want to show it to you all scrunched up. I wanted to have it all nice for you. So I made another Reina shawl by Nura Livola, and it's so open it's kind of hard to show you the right true color there, but I used US 6 needles on this one. If I hold it up to my body, maybe that'll be, if I can stand up a little bit, I'll show you the colorway a little bit better. This is out of some precious stash of Hanalei hand dyed, which I got about 2 years ago in Kauai, Hawaii. And this is in the, let's see, maybe if I fold it on itself, not so much background color. From the wall you'll be able to see truer color. That's a little bit better. This is in the Makana Sunset color, which is these purples going into fuchsias and browns. It's absolutely gorgeous. And this is their 75-25 standard sock merino nylon sock blend, fingering weight. And this is really awkward. The mods I did are what I've done on my my Reina shawls in the past, is just knit another row of garter along the edge and then add a picot bind off on there, which is, I just think it looks nicer that way. So it's really As you can tell, very drapey, very light, and just right. Bunch it up a little bit there. So I'm looking forward to wearing this as it gets a little bit warmer here. It's been getting warmer, and then it's going to be getting cold again this week. So once the real spring weather comes in instead of the fake spring we've been having, this will be nice to wear of an evening, just for that little bit. So scoot up again at my Reina shawl. My last finished object is the, I've been calling it the horrific shawl. I keep saying that. Why? Never mind. So this is technically the striped cowl by Mathilde Scar, out of my Victorian horror mini set, which is from Canon Hand Dyes in the Charles Sock base. It's all finished. Show you the other side. Going into there. So for all the stripes, I used the Victorian Horror mini set, and then for the gray, the complementary contrast skein, which was a dark and stormy night. So I put them in the same sort of order that I did for the block for my literary blanket that I showed you last time. So it starts with in order of publication, starting on this end. So for Frankenstein, and The Raven, Jane Eyre, which was originally Dracula, but I renamed Jane Eyre because of fire colors, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, The Picture of Dorian Gray, and then The Hound of the Baskervilles. So this is it's knit circularly, so it's a tube cowl, and which is joined in a Kitchener stitch right here. I think it blocked out really nicely. You can't tell too much. Except maybe on the wrong, well, if it's circular, you don't really have a wrong side, but like the slip stitch side where you're gonna end up having some sort of a jog, no matter what you do. Now you can see there are a couple spots where this bled as it was blocked, but which was I was kind of anticipating, because these are some really striking, and some of them are really strong colors, and I thought it would be likely that some of them would bleed. But like I was prepared for it. It's just some of these colors, they're just prone to bleed. But none of it was too bad. And if it is, most of them are on that jog side, which is most likely I'm going to be putting toward the inside if I can. And surprisingly enough, the main color that I noticed bleeding when I actually soaked this was the gray. So there are a couple spots where it was different, like you can tell there that some of the red from up here bled, but it's not too bad. And in some of the lighter colors for the pastels, like for Dorian Gray, I thought if any of the colors are going to pick it up, it's going to be them. And let's see, you can tell a little bit over here that some of the gray went in. And let's see, and some of here, although I'm not sure if that's just from if this is from a different color, or if it was maybe one of the purples breaking. I'm not sure, but considering how dark a lot of these colors are and how vibrant a lot of them are, I think I got off really well with how it turned out, and I'm not upset about any of it. I think it turned out very nicely. So it'll be a very nice double length or double wrap cowl for me. I suppose I could even do a triple if I was feeling really cold and adventurous. There. Depending on my mood. So, nice striped Victorian horror cowl. There. Get to feel all mysterious. So, that's that. So that's that for finished objects. I will go into works in progress now. And living in my little skein and Green Gables bag is a shawl. Almost fell over. And this is the Vamping Shawl by Jennifer Dassow. I'll try to get this the right side facing you, which is I suppose you could call it almost an asymmetrical shawl. It's basically shaped like a Find Your Fade, except much, much smaller. Yeah. There. Like that. So I've just started not increasing on this side. So it'll start going down. I am using my Greenwood Fiberworks Stardust Speckle Gradient set, which was in their Victoria color, kind of a deconstructed version of their Victoria colorway. So you can see it starts off very, very subtle speckles, and then goes into more and more heavily speckled bits. The set I have has 7 mini skeins in it. Originally it's supposed to have 8, I think, but for whatever reason this one was missing a skein and was marked down just a bit. So it will get more and more heavily speckled with the pink, and then get some chocolate brown specks into it. And I would show you that gradation set, but I had a little bit of a knitting howler, as the Destined to Knit girls say. This shawl kind of gives you a percentage system to use if you're using more than what is recommended in the pattern, like if you were going bigger, of how much yarn you should have left, or what you should have used by the time you get to this section where it starts to go straight instead of going out. And I didn't listen, even though I should have. I weighed my yarn and realized I was at the point that I should have stopped doing that, and thought, nah, I'll be fine, and kept on going, which was stupid, and kept on going, and then was almost done and played yarn chicken and lost. So I thought there were 2 things that I could do. I could start all over again and go down a needle size. So I'm using size 6s on these guys, my Knit Picks Sunstruck interchangeables. So I could have started all over again and done size 5s, or I could go back to the repeat that I knew was where I should have stopped according to that percentage and do that. So I decided to just take out that one repeat and start all over again. So that's where I am. So I can't show you the nice gradient cakes as they would like appear in the package, because it's all in a ball now. And let me show you. So it's all in here now. So I can't show you what it's going to look like. Although, well, no, you can't see it. Never mind. But here is the ball. Not nearly as nice as I would like it to be to show you stuff, but yeah, you know, it is what it is. Now I sound like my dad. Yeah, he's a good guy. Never, it's fine. It's just, you know. Anyway, so that is, oh, wrong way. The Vamping Shawl, which, like I said, is kind of just based on a shaped like a Find Your Fade, but with these eyelet repeats in it, which try to show you. It'll look a lot nicer once it's blocked. But like that, so vamping. Then I am working on some socks. I just finished the first sock last night, which is, I don't have the blockers with me, so that is the first one. I am using some Nerd Girl Yarns Come Hither, which is her fingering merino cashmere nylon base in the Missy colorway. Show you the cake here. So this is just a vanilla sock, 56 stitches for me on US ones. with a eye of partridge heel and my favorite toe. And this is the second sock, and I'm just ready to start the heel flap on this one. So, messy, yay. And that leads us right into acquisitions. And for all my big talk last week about how I wanted to focus on knitting from stash and, you know, being good, about going through that, and how it feels fulfilling to do all that, Gabby, Once Upon a Corgi, had another shop update and I fell down. So I got some new yarn, although I justified it by saying I've been thinking about all of these colorways. And these are all new to me bases that I wanted to try out, and some new to me wool blends as well. So that makes it all better because you're learning and expanding your repertoire and all that good stuff. So the first one that I have is her new Audrey base, which is her Blue-Faced Leicester base. The original one was an 80-20 2-ply superwash Blue-Faced Leicester and nylon blend. This is a 100% BFL base, which is a 3-ply, so it'll make it nice and plump and squishy. So this is her Towers Over the Thames colorway, which is these wonderful blues and greens with some, trying to find a good spot, some kind of gold speckles at the bottom there, and some darker bits in the blue. And it's really soft, a lot softer than I would have thought, because I thought the nylon in the other blend helped with that, but it really feels nice, and I'm looking forward to trying this out. And this is one of the new to me bases, which is Isaac, which is 100% superwash Polworth, so new to me blend and wool. And this is Blood Moon. So let me show you the tag here. There. Which was inspired by her engagement ring. So congratulations, Jake and Gabby, on your engagement. I'm very happy for you. This is Blood Moon. And then the other two skeins are both of the same base. This is her Murray Cutie base, which is 75% superwash Corriedale and then 25% nylon. And this is in her God Killer colorway, which I've been wanting for so long. This is a Wonder Woman inspired colorway. See blues and burgundy reds and just a little bit of brown in there too. So let me show you that tag too. Oh, that's better. That's better there. And also in Marie Cutie is Hedwig, which it's so subtle, and there's barely there speckles, which I think are great. So there's some black in here and brown hiding in here, and there's some other grays just kind of scattered throughout as well over here. And there's some more black in there. I really want to turn these into some Mercury socks, which basically everyone and their uncle besides me has knit. And for some reason I think it would be really cute in this one. So that's what I want to try. And that's really all I have to share with you this week. Like I said, I knew it was going to be a shorter episode, but I still wanted to try to keep with some kind of schedule and some kind of rhythm and keep you up to date with everything that's been going on here. The only thing I have in news related content is that I am going to be going to Stitches West next week. I am really excited and really scared at the same time, because this is the biggest of the Stitches events that they have, and a lot of people have said that it can be overwhelming, and I am easily overwhelmed. It's just my particular anxieties, and I have social anxieties, so I'm worried that I'll just go into complete sensory overload, which will put me into a really, really bad mood. and that I'll say, I never wanted to come anyway, and why are we here, and this was stupid, and I want to go home, and before I've ever really had a chance to do anything. So I'm hoping that I'll be able to take it in stride and take breaks. People have told me to, well, they haven't told me, they have broadcasted to the general public that it's important to take breaks, and for me it'll be important to have snacks and take lunch and breakfast and lunch at a proper time, because I do tend to get hangry, which will not lead to good decisions probably. I remember Alana Dacos of the Never Not Knitting podcast, before she was a vendor at Stitches, which she will be this year. I'll be so happy to see her again. That she would, it sounded like she had a lot of the same anxieties that I do about things like that, and that she'd kind of work herself into a state and make poor decisions, and what she would say that then she'd come home with bags and bags, well, not bags and bags, but like yellow lace weight yarn, which is something she does not want, does not need, but you go in there and get into a state and make poor decisions. So that's what I keep telling everyone, is that I don't want to come home with yellow lace weight. So I'm hoping it'll all be okay, and I'll be able to have a good time and enjoy myself. This will be the first Stitches for me, and really the first vending show I've gone to. The only other show I've gone to so far was Lambtown, which was last October? Yeah, October in Dixon. So this is going to be in Santa Clara, which is, we're going to end up staying the night on Thursday, and then have a more relaxed morning on the Friday. Because I wasn't actually intending to go, I thought, because I've got other things going on that I wasn't really willing to, ask for the time off for this, but I happened to get the Friday off of work for there, and it's close enough that I could make a day trip out of it, and I thought, I have an idea. But we ended up going to stay the night Thursday. They said to have a relaxed morning on Friday, take as much time as we need, and not have to worry too much about traffic except for getting home Friday night. So I'm excited, but I'm scared, and I'm looking forward to seeing all the vendors, and I've been doing some pre-shopping on the SRX website for all of the vendor lists to try to get an idea of who's going to be there. And that's another thing. I look at all the websites and then I get overwhelmed just looking at that and trying to remind myself that that's okay. And even if for some reason you don't like it on the website, it's so much different to seeing all the products in person. And that could make or break the deal, and not to come to too many conclusions beforehand, and just try to have fun, which is what I really want to do there. So I'm looking forward to that. Yay! Hopefully my anxiety doesn't attack too bad. So that's all I have to say for that. So hopefully I'll have some nice things to show you the next time I record. Once again, thank you for joining me today. If you feel so inclined, go ahead and hit the thumbs up button down below, or subscribe to this channel if you enjoyed today's episode. I will see you all next time, and in the meantime, happy nerding, happy knitting. I'll see you later.